Hey guys, so follow up to yesterday's video on the doom and gloomy and looming of the frost. Wah, wah, wah. Did we get frost? What do you guys think? Hallelujah, we did not get frost. It went down to, I think, about 42, 43 degrees. And I guess there's some kind of stuff about dew point that helps make the frost itself. So something that we were kind of learning about, because we're like, last week we actually were down for a couple nights down to 37, and typically that doesn't frost, and this one was only going down to 43, but they called for a frost advisory. So luckily we did not get it. I'm not sure if the surrounding areas got it up here in northern Michigan or not. It's so early. So today's August 30th, and typically it's the first week, except for the last 2 years, is usually the first week in September, like the 4th or 5th or 6th. So this was definitely making up for the last couple years where it was like several weeks late. Weather, you always got to ride that train and see what's going on. It's wild, but we are looking pretty good out here. For the most part, we're getting a couple days of 78-degree weather, like 3 days in a row. And boy, do the maters need it. Like, they need it big time. Like, they're looking pretty sad. There's so many green ones, but there's so many of them. And I'm like, come on, babies. Come on, babies. You can do it. You can do it, right? So I'm hoping they can do it. So let's kind of take a look at some of the stuff that's going on up close. All right, so definitely lots of dieback. You can see lots of brown. Like I said before, probably some blight up in here. But look at all these guys. So these ones, I would not consider that blushing yet, but they are turning compared to these guys down here. That one's looking much better. We've got these ones, lots of partial ones. We just have lots of these green ones just hanging out. And I've got 250 plants or so that have a lot on it. So I'm really hoping that they kind of kick into high gear with this weather, because after that, it actually goes down to the highs in the 50s. Like, goodness graciousness. That's going to be cold. Actually, someone was thinking actually starting the wood stove. We have an outside wood boiler that heats everything, and it's going to be cold in the 50s as the high and rainy. That is just telling me, people, it's over. Typically it'll cool down a little bit in August, but then September kind of, maybe you might get a frost, but then it kind of goes back up, and then you get some days, maybe you could even hit the beach up. The water would be cold, but you could definitely go to the beach and enjoy some of that. This year, the long forecast does not look as pleasant as past years, but that's what it is. And as a homesteader, you really pay attention, especially a gardener and a homesteader, you really are paying attention to the weather all the time, taking cues from it. But when you see this cold weather coming up, you're like, oh man, we've got so many projects we have to button up, get prepared for winter. We don't take this lightly. We look at things differently, the husband and I. We take it very seriously. We're like, okay, we are raising all of our own food, and we have things that need to get done. We get a boatload of snow. Like last year, we got 250 inches when you just get dumped on. I mean, it's a different, unique environment. And people who are right here in my specific environment, you get me. But even just downstate Michigan, you can't even fathom what we deal with weather. I don't do a lot of driving during winter because the roads are so bad and they are icy so much, or you're getting a foot of snow or something ridiculous. But that's just kind of how you look at things. We appreciate the moodiness of the weather and the extremes of the 4 seasons. So it's really fun. Take a look at these sunflowers. Guys are, if I could they are way over my head. Aren't they cool though? Look at this. So this was I like to plant these at the bottom of my garden because we are on a slight incline. So I will go ahead and just plant a boatload of sunflowers, and I just absolutely love sunflowers. So aren't they just wonderful? They just make me happy. Oh, let's look at this one. It's got the 2 tones in it. So what do I do with these sunflowers? Good question. I actually tried grilling one the other day, and it was not, it was not tasty at all. If I don't know what I'm doing, I've never tried it before. So if you guys have ever grilled sunflower heads, let me know. We picked a tender one. I just did not enjoy it at all. Maybe I need to put like a whole stick of butter on it afterwards or something. I don't know. So let me know. But yeah, we love sunflowers because they help keep the erosion in, and I will use them to feed chickens as a little snack sometimes. They really like that. And I don't really roast them because whenever I've roasted them, they're just kind of too chewy and you got to spit, you know, I'm not certainly going to be shelling them or anything like that. So it's a little too much for me. But gosh, look at those guys. Love sunflowers. So let's take a look at some of the other garden stuff. So the potatoes are starting to die back. We've dug out a couple that were completely dead, like this one. This is when you're going to want to go ahead and get your, start digging your potatoes out. If you're going to have a lot, if they look like this and you've got a lot of rain in the forecast, you need to pull them out because the slugs, not the slugs, the grubs, slugs and grubs will go ahead and start really getting at them, and you don't want to lose your potato harvest to that. All these holes from these beans, the Japanese beetles got them, and some kind of like false ladybug thingy, I call it, because that's very professional and scientific, got them. But they are doing really good though. I mean, beans are just amazing. I always say that. Beans. So good. Over here we have, this is actually black dent corn, which is I'm going to be using for popcorn. But the actual hair, it's probably hard to tell, is much darker than it is on your sweet corn, which I thought was kind of cool. So I'm really excited to see what is going on and what's growing on in there and see how they turn out. I really like doing popcorn. The kernels are always smaller than what you're used to at the store, but they are still delicious. And then it's kind of cool just to say, hey, I grew my own popcorn. So this is the sweet corn over here. We've already had some of it. So good. I bet you the cold nights have helped with the sugars and stuff like that. And I bet you there's a lot more that needs to be picked, which I probably should do today. So thanks for the reminder, note to self. Beautiful marigolds down there that just were like 3 feet tall marigolds. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so here's a lot of the other potatoes that are certainly dying back. So we will be having a big project coming up of harvesting all of these wonderful potatoes. We grow a boatload of potatoes. This is some squash that I just kind of let take over. Look at that. It's insane. All kinds of stuff. The pollinators are still finding whatever blooms are still coming on, which here will absolutely anything edible. Like they're done. Like anything that has a bloom on it, anything that's small, we're done. Nothing can actually grow and turn it into anything. So that's what makes you appreciate the things that did work really hard and grew and stuff like that. And it is what it is sometimes. Sometimes people get really sad that, that the weather is changing and stuff like that. But if you understand it and you know that it always happens and there's nothing you can do or control or change about it, that's what it is. So you just learn to appreciate what you do get and try not to cry about it. Which last year was a hard year for me because it was a bad year. But then I over-fertilized in a really good way, having those pigs come into here and do all that direct deposit. And now, top notch. So we definitely will be putting pigs in one, sheep in the other, something like that. So get your poop in a group. Poop in a group and get that fertilizer in there. Put that compost in there all winter long. Go to a friend's house and get poop from whatever you can. Like, it's the weirdest conversation to have sometimes. But it makes such a big difference. Every year you plant, you absolutely have to refertilize. Even in like a no-till garden, you have to add something back to the soil. So it's really important to add something back to the soil so that you get a good harvest. Because that first year you can do a pretty good job and you're thinking, oh, I got this. Well, a lot of that stuff took all the nutrients out. Not all, but a lot. And then you forget to put some more in. And then you kind of give up because you get mad or something and it didn't work out. Don't give up. You gotta keep trying. No one needs to be paying these ridiculous store prices for crap food that has been sprayed with cancer-causing chemicals that are just horrendous. You gotta grow whatever you can. Container garden, vertical garden, limited space garden, garden beds, whatever you can do. Massive size gardens like we have. Go bigger, go smaller. Just do something every single year to keep growing, and you can tell and taste and feel the difference. So I'll end up rambling on today, but so there we go. We escaped the frost. Got some good days coming up. So let's go, people. God bless. See you guys later.